In 2023, a New York lawyer filed a legal brief with 6 court cases in it. Every one of them was perfect. The right format, the right judges, the right legal language, and not one of them existed. ChatGPT had invented all 6. The lawyer never checked. The judge fined him $5,000. Here's the thing that should worry you. The machine wasn't malfunctioning. That is exactly what it was built to do. We call this hallucinating. It's a comforting word. It suggests a glitch, something that can be patched out. It isn't a glitch. The machine is doing the same thing when it's right and when it's wrong. Exactly the same thing. It has no idea which one just happened. To see why, you have to look at what it's actually doing when it answers you. Start with what isn't in there. There is no library, no database, no copy of the internet sitting in a folder. Last episode we opened one up. All you find is dial settings, numbers. When you ask it a question, it does not look anything up. It cannot. There is nothing to look in. So when it gives you a court case, it isn't retrieving a court case. It's building one, the same way it builds everything else. Here is the whole machine. In one sentence, it picks the next word, then it does it again. For every position, it scores every word it knows. How likely is this one to come next? Then it takes one of the top answers and moves on. Varghese versus, and what follows? Something that sounds like an airline. China Southern Airlines scores well. It looks exactly like a real case name because it was built out of thousands of real ones. Nothing in that process asks whether the case exists. There is no step where that could even be checked, and it doesn't pick the same word every time either. There's deliberate randomness in the choice. That's why asking twice gives you 2 different answers. Ask for that court case again, and you may get a different court case. Equally detailed, equally fake. Most of the time, likely and true point the same way. Paris is the capital of France, and that's also the likely next word. They only come apart in one place, where the facts are thin. A famous case, a common drug, a big city. The pattern is everywhere in the training data, so likely lands on true. An obscure case, a small company, last Tuesday. The pattern isn't there, but the machine still has to pick something, and it picks whatever is most plausible. That's not a lie. A lie needs you to know the truth first. So why doesn't it just say, it doesn't know? Because nothing ever taught it to. Go back to the training loop. Cover a word, guess it, get scored on how close you were. Every single round rewards producing something. There is no move doesn't producing something. There is no move in that game, called leave it blank. Blank is always wrong. Millions of rounds of that, and you get a machine that will always produce an answer. Not knowing isn't a state it can be in. It only has next words. Then we did something that made it worse. After the main training, these models get tuned on human preference. People are shown 2 answers and pick the better one. Sounds sensible, but look at what people actually pick. Between a confident answer and I'm not sure, people pick confident. Between a detailed answer and a short one, people pick detailed. So we rewarded exactly the thing that makes a made-up answer convincing. We didn't train it to be right, we trained it to be satisfying. Now the part that should change how you use these things. The machine sounds exactly as confident when it's wrong as when it's right. Not roughly as confident. Exactly, because the fluency and the facts come from the same place, the same dials. the same next word machinery. There is no separate part that handles being correct, which could fail on its own. And warn you, the smoothness of the answer tells you nothing about whether it's true, nothing at all, and that's the opposite of every other source you've ever used. A person who's guessing sounds like they're guessing. And there's one more turn of the screw, which is almost funny. When the lawyer started to worry, he did the sensible thing. He asked ChatGPT whether the case was real. It said yes. He asked it for the source. It produced one. That was invented too. And of course it was. You asked a next word machine whether its own last answer was true, and after that question, yes is the likely next word. You cannot use the machine to check the machine. There is nothing behind it to check against. There is one thing that genuinely helps, and it isn't a smarter model. Give it the source. Paste in the document, the page, the contract, and ask it to answer from that. Now it isn't building an answer out of patterns. It's reading something you can check. That's what's happening when you see an AI answer with links you can click. It searched first, then wrote. Same machine, same dials. But now there's something in the room that can be wrong out loud. It won't fix everything. It can still misread the page you handed it, but that changes the failure from inventing to misreading, and misreading is something you can catch. So, 4 rules. These are the ones I actually use. 1. Anything with a number, a name, or a date gets checked. Those are exactly the details it's most willing to invent. 2. Ask it for its source, then open the source. If it can't give you one, you've learned something. 3. Give it the document instead of asking from memory. Reading beats recalling every time. 4. Watch for the too smooth answer. If a hard question comes back instantly and perfectly, that's not confidence. That's a machine that had no way to hesitate. So the next time one of these hands you something perfect, remember where it came from. No library, no lookup. No idea what's true, just the most likely next word over and over until it looks like an answer. It isn't lying to you. It doesn't know enough to lie. It's a machine that has never once been rewarded for stopping, which is either terrifying or kind of genius, probably both. Did it click? Next up. Every answer it gives you burns real electricity in a real building somewhere. So what does one answer actually cost? See you there.